Hello, hello. I can't believe it. It's already been a week since I gave birth. Um, as a kind of slow and dilated labor land was, and how slow time passed, I feel like this first week has just flown by. And I feel like I've been just swaddled in this sea of oxytocin and midnight wakings. So time has really flown by. Wanted to check in and share a couple of things that are really common in the first week or so of postpartum and what I've experienced. And that starts really with the physical. Early postpartum is an intensely physical time. After birth, especially for births where there was labor involved, and then for births that were vaginal, this is what mine was, there's just total exhaustion and muscle soreness that one wouldn't even think is possible, or can be at least. I recently read that 3 hours of active labor with contractions and so forth is the equivalent of running about 20 miles. So if you think about that, most labors are much more than 3 hours long, and so you can imagine just how physical that is. I've definitely experienced that feeling of like, wow, what is that in my groin? Wow, my lower back feels very tired right now. And yeah, so that's a lot. And adding to the physical kind of first couple of days of like, whoa, my body definitely feels tired. There's also so many changes that are happening. The uterus is shrinking. It can expand up to 500 times its original size. It goes from being this tiny little thing to like, large enough to fit an entire baby, full grown baby. And every time the body needs to kind of bring the uterus back down, it does so through contracting. So this first week is very common to feel a lot of like labor is kind of still happening through having contractions, which are often triggered during breastfeeding sessions because of the oxytocin and the nipple stimulation. For me personally, I find the contractions after birth to be actually far more intense and painful than my labor contractions. So it's been like a week of definitely feeling like, oh my God, this is not comfortable. But it's important, and it's really actually for the safety of the mom, it's really important for the contractions to happen. And then there's also an extreme amount of kind of uterus cleansing and blood loss. This is a time in the first week where new moms maybe feel like they're having the heaviest period of their life. And that can be for as little as a couple of days up to really 6 weeks. With Lila, I had very heavy bleeding. I was basically wearing diapers for weeks and weeks and weeks, and it was intense. With this postpartum so far with my son, Lucas, it's been way lighter, which I'm grateful for, but still very much a reality of every time I use the restroom, it's very present. All of the cleansing that my body is doing. And another thing that is super physical about this first week is for new moms, especially those that plan to breastfeed, the engorgement that comes as milk begins to come in can be very intense. So I've had kind of the ice packs and cabbage leaves to place on the breast for support, and taking really warm showers and like water come on the chest is super soothing. I've also been doing daily self kind of breast massage to help make sure that there's no clogged ducts as milk comes in, and to prevent any sort of mastitis. But the feeling of having a full chest is so, for me at least, very like visceral and overtakes all other things around. So I'm very present to the feeling of when I need to feed or hand express for relief during this time. And for a lot of moms as well, breastfeeding has all sorts of ups and downs and questions and complications of latch and figuring that out. I feel so lucky. My doula is also a trained lactation consultant. So from the moment after birth up till the first postpartum visit, she's been really helpful in giving different tips for my unique body and also Lucas's needs as he's feeding. This is a support that I cannot emphasize enough. Having a lactation consultant who can provide tips and tricks and, really assess what you're doing and how little tweaks can make a world of difference is really huge. Having even a slightly misaligned latch can lead to a lot of nipple pain or even bleeding and discomfort that is preventable and also can be alleviated pretty quickly with the right advice and support. And there's, if lactation consultants aren't available in person, there's a lot of people that do online visits and sessions. And then there's a lot of breastfeeding support groups too. So that's an interesting one that can feel very intense. And then also with breastfeeding, there's the actual physical soreness that comes in the back and the shoulders and the arms as you're holding a new baby. And this is where gentle upper body yoga poses and stretches can come in. And this is something that I've been doing just about every day, just to keep my body loose, as well as luckily finding someone that can come to the house for postpartum massage, which is definitely a game changer for the labor recovery, as well as the breastfeeding physical kind of upper body soreness. The other thing that's really happening right now physically for anyone in their first week, and very much for me too, is this enormous hormone drop following the birth of the placenta, because the placenta was really producing a lot of the hormones during pregnancy. It's Dr. Aviva Rome says that when a woman's pregnant, she has the hormone equivalent of taking 100 birth control pills in a single day. So lots of estrogen, lots of progesterone, and a lot of good mood, and a lot of fullness and so forth. And placenta goes, and all of a sudden there's a huge drop. It was a very dramatic sound. And it can be a total roller coaster, and it can be gentle waves. Everyone responds differently. For some moms, they find themselves crying for no reason, or being extra irritable, or feeling low in ways they never have before. And all of that in this first week is totally par for the course. I noticed for me, what really shows up is like in the late afternoons, I start to feel like I want to withdraw. I want to be alone. I feel just like a little bit down. And I also have noticed that when my daughter Lila, who's 2.25, is around, if she's making loud sounds or demanding a lot of attention, my patience is so short. And normally I'm pretty, patient and love to have fun, and I'm okay with all like the negotiations of the 2-year-old time. But this has been a big one for me that I've noticed this time around. And to kind of help with supporting this hormone kind of recalibration, the two biggest things that I find are extremely valuable for me, and also that the data shows, is number one, sleeping as much as possible. I know, easier said than done for new moms. However, it truly, truly is, because when we're sleeping, that's really when we get the most kind of internal recalibration, and certain hormones that are also triggered by sleep deprivation then don't come on and add to the kind of chaos of what's already happening. And then the other one is blood sugar stability. So eating smaller meals more frequently, having a lot of good fats, which is, the building block of hormones. This is a really, really important one. So I've been just, also because breastfeeding makes you ravenous often, at least for me, I've been eating a lot of small regular meals with a lot of good fat. Think seeds, nut butters, different types of pasture or animal fats. And that's been really, really helpful so far. And then emotionally, it's the first week is everything is new, even if it's the 10th child. Like, this unique child is totally new and a kind of a blank slate in many ways. And so having the opportunity in this first week to really be with whatever emotions are coming up, about this new member of the family, about the transition, community-wise, and then also processing the birth. One thing that I always recommend to my clients is, as soon as possible in the first week, write down or voice record your recollection of your birth. Talk with the people that were present at your birth. If you had a support person or a partner, a doula, even, connecting with your midwife or whoever you can, and hear their experience. And I really feel this is important because that's when the memories are most fresh, and you will remember your birth for the rest of your life, but in such a detailed way. Right now is a really great time to kind of just check in and do a bit of a debrief. Can be very healing as well to see what comes up, because oftentimes in my experience, birth stories bring up a lot more bigger themes than just the birth themselves. And then of course the third part of week 1 is really like getting to know this new kid and who they are and what their needs are and what their personality is like. Allowing for that transition back at home. Some babies are, sleeping all the time. Other babies are crying all the time, and everything in between. And kind of getting your initial footing with what works for diaper changes or for sleep-wake kind of routines with your various support people is really key. I feel lucky. I really did a lot of practice during my pregnancy to kind of step out of the comparison where I'm not saying, oh, well, he's more this than Lila, or, oh, this is more like this than the first time around. Really kind of taking what John Kabat-Zinn calls the beginner's mindset and saying, this is the first time, everything's new and open with this soul, with this kid, and being with them. Newborn life is crazy. There's no way around it. Whether you have a baby that is more relaxed than ever, or whether you have a baby that has a lot of challenges and everything in between. So, really what I'm finding is the importance of relying on the support team that I built, and then giving myself just the ultimate permission slip and as much gentleness as I can. This week, I've had a lot of support. My number one is my husband, Warren, who he does daily check-ins with me, always asks me what I need, how I'm doing physically. I'm really open to hearing how I can be supported by him. And I've done the practice so that I can tell him really what I need, what I want, no matter how silly it sounds or how frivolous or how whatever my inner critic tries to tell me. My mother-in-law is staying with us right now, and she's taking care of me. She's cooking all of my meals and helping out with Lila, and she's just been such a godsend. This experience postpartum is a little bit more of like a hybrid as compared to the postpartum I had for the first time, where it was a very much more traditional 40 days Taiwanese Chinese postpartum recovery. And so we're kind of navigating this new hybrid way, which I'll speak to more in another video. And then I also have really felt so lucky to have emotional support from a really cool women's circle that I'm a part of virtually, and as well as through several of my friends who are also moms, and my sister who's also a mom, and just being able to check in and if kind of like, if sharing and relating. And then we also have an amazing cleaning lady that's come and made sure our house has remained somewhat tidy. It's really important to us. It makes me feel really stressed when there's like clutter everywhere. And so thank God for her. Yeah. So shared a little bit about what I've been up to, shared a little bit about what can be expected in the first week. There's no one way to do postpartum, and there's definitely no one version of normal. But underneath all of what I've shared, really something that I want to emphasize is that the first week is going to be greatly aided if the new mama, if you feel safe, if you feel like you're being taken care of. it really is like this beautiful, invisible force that allows for you to, really then take care of your baby too. And that's definitely what I'm feeling so far here, thankfully. And not coincidentally, right? It was very intentional the way that we have kind of prepared for this. So, okay, I'm gonna just stop there. Starting to feel like a little like, ooh, so I think it's time for me to go take a nap. But I'm glad that I was able to do this. I committed to doing video updates and share a bit about my experience. And yeah, so I'm glad I'm able to stick to that. It feels good. I've given myself, as I said, a permission slip for just about everything, but this feels good, so I'm glad to do it. Okay, have a wonderful day.